Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And with Scump and Dashy having a bit of a back and forth on the timeline, there's also been a massive discussion about crowdfunding potentially arriving to Call of Duty Esports. Could it happen at some point? How much money would potentially be involved? Could this be the next step that needs to be taken for the CDL? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this from NRG. As before points out to me here in the replies, you might expect this NRG thing, like which table are you sitting at, to include some of the Optic guys, right? Maybe like some Optic members, the likes of Scump, you could throw it in there, because technically, under NRG, clearly that's not the case anymore, especially with Formal taking NRG out of its bio a few days ago. It very much seems that it has officially gone through now, that Optic has, well, divulged, I suppose, from NRG, and is now part of the Envy thing. We've seen some of the kind of trademark stuff hinting that that kind of went through officially towards the end of September, so I'd imagine it's coming relatively soon in terms of this announcement. Of course, it does remain to be seen, as Scump is saying, look, I don't really care about this stuff going on behind the scenes, I just want to straight up load into a scrim, right? Cannot wait to load into a scrim. Kind of echoing, to be honest, like Illy does tweet, I don't know, I'm reading into this too much, obviously, but Illy does tweets very similar to this, but, you know, can't wait to load into a scrim, he says. I thought it was kind of interesting right at the same time, because as, well, Hum says in the replies, quality name, like, yeah, could this mean he's potentially signed now and is not a free agent anymore, just because, yeah, maybe that's why he's talking about loading into a scrim, because he's now officially signed. Of course, maybe when he is signed, he'll do the contract gif or whatever that everyone seems to throw up on the timeline. And to be fair, he does say in replies right here to, well, Kevy Skills, as Kevy says, a free agent such as yourself scrimming, that's some next level dedication, because technically he isn't, well, he hasn't signed his contract yet, because we thought maybe there was something going down with, well, there is something going down with Optic Dallas, and therefore, like, Scump's kind of waiting to make things work. And also, we kind of talked earlier today about the possibility of this salary cap disappearing from the league. Therefore, Scump might be thinking, okay, let's just bide our time a little bit so we can get, well, we can maximize the bag. But yeah, dedicated AF, people looking at the AF and saying, oh my god, a lad to FaZe, is he going over there? That's not the case. He kind of explains everything with the following: I'm just so bored, Warzone is fun and all, but I just need to compete again and get back in the action. Which, yeah, certainly that's the thing with competitors, right? That's the thing with a guy like Formal. I do wonder, like, having retired, and other players in a similar boat that have retired, like, you know, the competitive spirit within them doesn't disappear, right? They have to find the outlet some way, somehow, and, yeah, Scump certainly finding that, it seems, this off-season already. This I thought was also interesting from Dashy. Daily streams return when Vanguard drops. He's going to get, well, supposed to get back in business. Entertaining, no doubt, but Scum isn't convinced. Yeah, right, there's no way you're actually going to stream every day. I'm good for the first week, hoping to carry the momentum through, says Dashy. Now, what does this mean, right? Because I suppose you could look at this and say, well, okay, if he's going for the first week and then carrying the momentum through, like, does that mean they're going to stream their scrims, right, from the first week and onwards? That'd be nice to see if that was the case, right? We saw Los Angeles Thieves recently saying that's what they're planning to do, but whether Optic will do it once again, who really knows? Last year, of course, we saw Envoy discussing the fact that when the streams went off, they actually got worse in terms of their discipline. It was almost keeping the streams on when they were practicing that held them accountable to actually, well, practice it as much as they should be doing. So maybe that's something they consider. It's really tough to say, but well, certainly something to keep your eyes on going forwards. This then from the Optic podcast that came out a couple of days ago. Big discussion from Hex and Hitch and Formal and the guys really about crowdfunding in, well, the International. So the International, the biggest, I'm pretty sure it's the biggest ever esports event every single year, at least in terms of prize money, finished just a few days ago on the 18th of October. And, well, the prize pool, I'm pretty sure this year was bigger than it's ever been. It was about $40 million. And the way they come up with this crazy number is not just Valve, the owners of Dota 2, putting up the prize pool as kind of Activision does for the CDL, but effectively there's in-game items and skins that people can buy, and a percentage of that goes towards the prize pool. Now, actually, Valve keep a very high percentage of this, as Hex is going to go on to divulge, and even if Activision did something very similar in Call of Duty, we could have absolutely huge prize pools for our events, which probably would bring so much more attention. And he's just kind of saying if Halo does this, then, like, well, Halo's going to take steps ahead of Call of Duty in this sense. And, well, Hex is also kind of like, look, if you're trying to maximize value for your shareholders, then effectively this is something you've got to do if you're Activision.
Look at the prize pools. 10,000, 60,000, 40,000, 7,000, 50,000, 5,000,
40 million.
40 million.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty nasty.
This is you want to hear a crazier a crazier thing? $40 million is what the players or that tournament got to split. The other 60%, which is 60 million, goes to Valve. Which begs the question: at what point do shareholders of aTVI stock can say, crowdfund the out of this, please, so that there can be an additional $60 million made?
Right.
Because I can guarantee you that if there was an opportunity for everybody throughout the year to buy champs packs of the teams, of the personalities, and everybody gets their little piece, Activision is going to get the bigger piece at the end of the day. They're going to benefit from it. But at the same time, we are going to have some pretty cool moments where, man, $40 million is attainable. There are more people playing Call of Duty, mobile and otherwise, than there are any other video game out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that data point is not wrong.
You think this year they're going to crowdfund the Halo finals?
If they do, it'll go nuts because everybody will back it.
It will be the biggest.
Activision?
Yeah. So
no.
like,
So let's say crowdfund. Let's say one. Let's say by the end of the year that the champ skins sold $100 million. Okay. $40 million of that, and I'm making this up. I'm just going off of what YouTube pays creators off of their split. 40% of that goes to the league and the price pot, and then the rest goes to Activision. They pocket that. That's for operation and all that. So it's not. They're not matching. I mean, they could keep 20 mil and match the other 40 to have an $80 million prize pool.
So just to look at how this went for the international then, Team Spirit, also this is kind of crazy, the percentages. Like in Call of Duty generally, the winner of course wins the lion's share, but at second place gets a pretty decent chunk of what first place adds. In this case, that's not the case at all. I'm pretty sure this went all the way down to a game 5. I just looked it up really quickly online, and it went down to game 5, like a best of 1 effectively to decide who wins. The winner gets 18 mil, second place gets 5 mil. Now 5 mil for second isn't so bad, but that's only 13% of the total prize pool, just absurd. Even if you come 8th, you get $1 million for your team, which is, I mean, just the prize pools are insane. And, well, as you can see right here, the current prize pool is, 40 million, and 38 and a bit million is added to that. So that's the thing, right, in terms of, like, only $1 million and a bit are put up by Valve. The rest of the money just comes from in-game transactions and items. And right now, like, Warzone is making an insane amount of money. I forget exactly the figure that Mack said, but I'm pretty sure it's about $5 million, something in that ballpark, of money that's made every single day from in-game transactions from Call of Duty Warzone. That's just Warzone alone, right? You bring in Vanguard to that, you bring in the other Call of Duty titles to that, and Warzone as well, and you say, okay, here's like the CDL camos, and they're the sickest ones in the entire game. If you get these, then a percentage of that money, as Hex is kind of saying, like, even if you give only 40% of it to the prize pool, and Activision takes 60% of it, then you could still potentially get, if there's $100 million in sales of those items over the course of the season, which seems maybe excessive, but still, even if that's possible, you can get a prize pool of $40 million, no problem at all, or at least work up to something like that, right? And if Activision take a less percentage of a share, like as he was saying, if there's $100 million in sales, let's say Activision only take 20%, they only take 20 mil, which still a fair decent payday, then 80 mil goes to the prize pool, which could be absolutely ridiculous. But as you can see, of course, last year there were these CDL packs that came in, like some of this stuff was okay, but it's just nothing spectacular, like the favorite ones that I've ever seen are ones that don't even exist. For example, from Lionman, right, he makes this on the 23rd of September, optic camo that we could have in the upcoming game. I mean, this is just absolutely beautiful. Like if this stuff was in the game, and let's say you pay, like, I don't know how much you pay, like $5 for it, let's say $2 of that goes to the prize pool for champs that year, like that would just be so good. I'm not really sure why they haven't got on the bandwagon of this yet. There's just a few things the CDL seem to be a little bit behind the curve on, because I think it would really raise the profile. There's definitely a degree to which new viewers come in because they know a lot of money's on the line. People watch these big tournaments because they know that if this guy wins, like, he's going to win. Back in the day, like when the first World Championship was $1 million, it was like, Jesus, like there's $1 million tourney. Like I got to tune into this and see who's going to take it down. Like having more and more prize money is not bad for anyone, right? And it seems something which could be relatively easily done. This might actually be one of my favorites from Lineman back in Black Ops 4, when he makes this kind of camo with, like, well, it's all very colorful, but also you've got the name of the player on it, so you could have like particular camos for certain players, like on the guns that they most use. Like you could do so much cool stuff, but seems to just take so long to implement that by the time things actually get around to doing it, we don't have enough time to actually crowdfund this to a successful situation. Wanted to run through this real quick then. So this was this year's World Championship in 2021, $2.5 million. FaZe won 1.2 mil, then a second place won just over half of what FaZe won. So you're not too bad at the end of the day, but not too well, pretty far removed, I suppose, from what exactly is going on in the Dota world. This is the overview of like all the events, all the Call of Duty World Championships throughout history. So the first few years were $1 million event, then Black Ops 3 was a $2 million event, then it went down to 1.5 mil. So not bad. I mean, especially Modern Warfare was insane this this 4.6 mil. I'm pretty sure the prize pool was the same throughout the entirety of Cold War and Modern Warfare, but just Modern Warfare, like, it was so heavily skewed towards champs, and in this most recent title, Cold War, a lot of the majors got a lot more money than they did in the previous title for the home series, right? So that's kind of why things were different. But still, like, this money's decent, but it's nothing. Well, if you crowdfunded, you could you could theoretically 10x these numbers without too much difficulty. You've even got the COD Mobile World Championship, which I looked up right here for this year. It's a $2 million tournament as well for 2021 this year. It's going on in December. So that's just the thing, right? There's so much right now. There's so much potential that Hex certainly sees as well from the business side that I could really make this work. And it's stuff like this, right? The Standy points out at absolute fire. This nice little calling card here. There's so much stuff you could put in the game that people would buy to support the pro players, and I wouldn't mind chucking a few quid in if I know that some of the money's going to go towards the prize pool at the end of the day. That's something Dota have done for literally years at this point, and it's a big surprise really why they haven't gone to do this yet, especially because it seems to be a win-win for pretty much everyone. I guess it's effort to implement, but at the same time, if this is something they can do year on year and introduce some, and also it gives a nice incentive to put these team camos and stuff into the game early on, and it seems like it's just good for everyone. But very much intrigued to your perspective in the comment section below. Just wanted to finish off with this actually, because JP Krez, the analyst for the subliners, said this back in January: a stat concept, true KD, kills minus kills traded by enemies, deaths minus deaths traded by enemies. This is kind of your KD without considering which kills you got that were immediately traded out afterwards. So it's kind of an interesting one, trying to figure out which players are better valuing their life, for example. And apparently he says, I heard it might be possible we might be getting traded kills and untraded kills in game next year for the CDL. Would be a huge step in the right direction for analysis. Trades are so crucial in COD, especially in the respawn modes. So maybe a step in the right direction like this indicates they're trying to take some step ups in other regards as well. I suppose that does just remain to be seen. But very much intrigued to get your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset that YouTube market. I know you enjoyed this content. Other people just like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thanks for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Jesus Christ. I just can gather.
Oh, you can plant it.
Enemies down to 1. Make it 0.
I'm getting pissed on. Hey, wait, no, they're actually getting slammed single-handedly.